Hey, this is Epic Family Road Trip, and you're watching Waypoint Overland TV.
Hey there, so I am Frank Ledwell. I am the publisher of Outdoor by 4 magazine. We're an overland, outdoors, lifestyle publication that you can find at most major book retailers throughout the US and Canada and even internationally. We are here along with my friend Rick Stowe, who is our web editor for Outdoor by 4, and we are joining the crew from Waypoint Overland TV.
My name is Peter Van Stralen, and I am with the Epic Family Road Trip. Me and my wife and 3 teenagers now, and we've been traveling together for almost 4 years. In November it'll be 4 years. We've been out exploring a lot in North America. We wanted to really understand our own backyard first, and then we've done some abroad travel to New Zealand and Australia and Indonesia, just having amazing experiences all over the world. But when I was in business, we had core values that really helped us build a successful business, helped us attract like-minded people. And so when we started traveling, after our business got acquired in 2015, I got together with the kids, me and my wife, and we said we should get clarity on what our values are, what our purpose, our mission is for this trip. Otherwise, we're just traveling. And without a vision, without a mission, it's easy to go astray. So I always said in business, if you have clarity on your values, then decision making will be easy going forward. It's actually a Walt Disney quote: when values are clear, decision making is easy. So we clarified our values and we came up with 3 things. First one was work. Work is an important value. I wouldn't be able to have the free time and the financial freedom to be able to travel if I hadn't invested time in work. And I knew that me and my wife wanted to give that gift of a work ethic to our kids, and so that they would work hard at school in order to get through it, because when you're homeschooling, it's harder than sitting in a classroom. You have to have your own motor, your own drive and ambition to get through it. And you're competing with school and maybe a beautiful surf break 100 yards from where you're camping. So you need self-discipline. So work was our number one, our first value that we left with. The second one was play. Play, nowadays in the world there's an epidemic of anxiety and stress, and so many people are unhappy, and we thought if we could just learn or remember to play the way we did when we were kids and just have fun together as a family, climbing mountains or hiking or mountain biking, traveling around, seeing new places. If we could just play together, then we could get over some of this anxiety and stress that so many are burdened with. And so work was first, play was next, and then the last of the 3 values was care. And care for us meant to care for others, care for ourselves, but it was an acronym. It stood for Create a Remarkable Experience. And we took that acronym, that value from our business, we took it into our travels, and we said, let's care for others, let's create a remarkable experience for others as we travel by leaving the people we meet and the places we visit a little better than we found them. So now we're traveling not just for the sake of traveling, but for the sake of trying to leave others better than we found them. And so, armed with these 3 values, we went about our way, and along the way we found all kinds of opportunities to do all 3, to work hard, to play, and to care. And we've had experiences present themselves to us because we had clarity on our values. So always, no matter what you're doing, if you're going to school, if you're a father or mother at home, if you're at work, you own your own business, whatever your situation is, get clarity on your values, because that will give you guidance and it'll give you the ability to make the right decisions when faced with decision making. And so, some of the experiences we had the opportunity to go down to Haiti, and we brought these solar lights to a village that had never had electricity, and they were studying at night by kerosene. So there's all kinds of respiratory problems with the kids that are trying to study at night with these kerosene lamps. So we had the privilege of bringing 800 solar lights to a village there, and for the kids to just see how they live there. They live very, very poor, but they were happy. They were happy to show us their little mud huts they weren't about things, and it was really an eye-opener for us to be less about things and more about experiences, more about enjoying each other, and so Haiti was an amazing experience. The kids got to save 120 whales off a beach in New Zealand. Part of we were just where our mind was open to create a remarkable experience. And so when we heard about this situation, it was 4 hours drive from where we were camped. The kids immediately packed up their gear and they headed out, and we drove 4 hours into the wilderness. It was in a place called Farewell Spit. Nobody lives up there, but we had our Jeep all rigged up. We had food, we had water. And so we met with the volunteers there, and they spent all day doing first aid on the whales and keeping water on their skin, because in the hot sun, that's how they die. If they're not in water, their skin will bubble. And so we did first aid all day, and then when the tide came in, we pushed and pushed, and with all the other volunteers, we were able to get all 120 whales out into the bay, and they began to swim together. And then we grabbed hands and we formed a big, long human chain so that the whales wouldn't come back in, because some of their mates had perished already on shore before they were discovered, and they would come back in to try to rescue them. So we stomped our feet, we made noise, we held hands, and we cheered, and eventually the whales all swam into the bay, and then they swam out and never came back. So I mean, once you have clarity on values and you know that you have a mission, all of a sudden the opportunities begin to present themselves to you, because your eyes are open to the needs around you rather than just your own needs. So I mean, if I could say anything, go out there, have a big adventure. It doesn't have to cost a lot. It just means you just have to make sacrifices. If you want something, you have to be willing to give up something else. Make the sacrifice, get out there, get clarity on your vision, on your mission, and you'll have a lot of fun, I can assure you that.
How's it going, guys? Matt from Max Tracks here. So we're here with Waypoint Overland, and rumor has it that some of you guys want to take a look at what I guess is the world's first Gladiator camper. So we partnered with AT Overland on this, and let's have a further look. It's going to be it's a pretty cool truck. There's a lot of really great details. Hey guys, so probably best to start with the kind of the living space inside of our AT Summit. So one of the things that we do at Adventure Imports is we import MSA 4x4. They're a major Australian brand. One of the things they're best known for are their kind of the first to market on the refrigerator drop slide. So the cool thing with this is you can pretty much do it with one hand. Press that little blue button down. That's your slide release. Keep downward pressure on here, and then you just let it drop. Now, that means way easier to get inside your fridge, whatever you want. If you didn't have something like this, it would just be a little bit challenging if you weren't tall enough to do that. We also have these fantastic drawers from MSA 4x4. So they're actually fully crash test rated and ADR compliant in Australia. And my big thing with them is 100% extension, and they actually have built-in LED lighting. Now that lighting is contactless. There's no wires going in between the drawers and there. It's all done through this little stop that I just kicked over there. It's made of brass, and that's what communicates the electricity, so there's nothing to wear out on it. Now if we move inside on this guy, we have a dual pane window from Turn Overland. The AT calls it their Euro style window. Now the thing I like about that is it's actually insulated. When we move inside, what I'll show you is a screen, and then it also completely blacks out, and the fabric is aluminized, so it's really great if you're sleeping in the mornings, because I am not a morning guy. So let's move in here and we'll take a closer look. All right guys, so welcome to what I call the world's coolest tree fork. This Gladiator is on 37-inch tires with a 2-inch factory lift from Jeep. It's re-geared, and I have my own little cabin in the woods wherever I want it. These windows are pretty cool. So you can actually completely close that window. There's no light that's coming in. So that's really great, especially if you're traveling in cities or you're stopping somewhere. Nobody's going to be able to look inside and see, what's inside of your camper. Other cool thing here, a little bit hard to do with one hand, but it's also adjustable. So let's say you have a little bit of sunlight peeking in. You can adjust this, but then you can have that no-see-um mesh, and it's good quality stuff too. It's not sticky and cheap feeling. It's really, really nice. But we're a huge fan of these windows. Then they also have several points of adjustment so you can get plenty of airflow. If we kind of move a little bit over here, I'd love to talk about my next favorite thing, which is our diesel heater that we put in this thing. So one of my favorite things that we did to my AT Summit on the MaxTrax Gladiator is this diesel heater. Now you can't really see the nitty-gritties because that is actually, the heater itself is beneath the MSA drawers. AT did a great job installing that. Really minimal intrusion into the cab. You know, when you have a small space, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to maximize that space. So in this dead space over here, we have this awkward tank, which nobody really knows what it is, but that is in fact diesel. That will last about a month. And we decided to go with diesel because it's just the most efficient fuel source for heat. It uses something like 0.1 liters an hour when it's on full blast, and I can tell you that I rarely have to use this thing for more than a few minutes. Once this camper gets hot, we have the optional thermal insulation pack. It is really warm and toasty in here. Insulation's a big thing when it comes to being comfortable when you're living on the road. So these walls have about a 25 millimeter foam core or kind of honeycomb insulation that's sandwiched between the structural aluminum that's going into this camper. That means what's cold outside doesn't actually make it inside, and the roof has that same panel. So this diesel heater, no matter if you're in the Arctic or wherever you are, this thing's going to keep me warm and comfortable when I'm on the road. Hey guys, so I just wanted to talk a little bit quickly about the inside of this. Now my favorite thing, man, I have a lot of favorite things in this camper, so I should probably watch how many things I'm saying are my favorite. But the bed on this AT Summit actually articulates up, and the bed, again, fully insulated. So it's on a 25 or 30 millimeter foam core insulation panel, so it's really warm at night. You're not crawling into a cold bed. But the cool thing is when I stand up, I'm about 6'3", and I have plenty of room to stand up at the end of the bed and change. Now that's really nice if you have two people that are traveling. Maybe somebody gets up earlier than the other person. They can get up, they can change, they can get on with their day while the other person's sleeping. And again, it's those little creature comforts on the road that make a real big difference. For further storage on the inside, we've decided to go with 2 alu boxes, which are available from Equipped Expedition Outfitters. And we went with those because they're easy to tie down, they're dust proof, and they're waterproof. So if we want to have more interior space inside, and it's raining or snowing or we're on the beach in Baja, we can just take those things out and we can use them as a footstool to get into the vehicle, or we can put them underneath the camper and we get some even more space inside. Guys, so I'm sure you're probably a little bit curious on the details, more the mechanical details of this build. So you may be surprised to know, even though this thing's riding on 37-inch tires, almost everything on the build is factory in some way, and that's something that I really wanted to do. I think Jeep is one of the few companies right now that's actually listening to the consumer, right? Let's take this front bumper, for example. The Mopar bumper, removable wings. So if you're rock crawling or you're going through more technical trails where you need an even better approach angle, really easy, factory, you can take those suckers off. Factory winch plate, and Warn Winch as always. They're a really good partner company of ours. We went with the Xeon 10S Platinum. Now that has the remote control on it, so really easy to use. There's no wires, nothing to worry about. It works fantastic. We did put a dual battery in this car from Genesis Dual Battery Systems. It works pretty good. We will kind of be making some changes there. Adding a house battery from lithium that'll actually go in the camper, keep it light. It'll also be really, pack a lot of punch. As far as the lift and everything on this, it's just a Mopar factory 2-inch lift, so you can get that from your local Jeep dealer. We decided to go with Dana Spicer gear sets. We went to 488, which is a little bit more than people might do usually, but we did that to try and restore a little bit of payload capacity to this truck, since we are running a little bit heavier. Just give the vehicle every advantage it can get. And then we threw those Dana Spicer diff covers on as well. This thing drives and rides great on 37s. On this trip, we drove from Arizona all the way to Washington, D.C., and then down here to Arlington, Virginia. We saw as high as 17.5 miles to the gallon on kind of some slower East Coast highways. We saw as low as about 13.8 going through Oklahoma at you know, God knows how fast, was cruising with the traffic with the headwind. Both of which for a, you know, fully outfitted camper that is completely capable of tackling some of the, you know, the most challenging trails in America, I think that's pretty good.